on this particular thing. It's backed up by the work of Jim Keith and these people that I've been mentioning a lot here. And we've got to realize, you see, that this is coming down. It's not just with arming the police with super weapons. It's not just putting the, HARP technology and microwave technology, installing that on the satellites so that they have a complete police state global village situation in which no nation or no person can operate independently, you see. And then they troubleshoot this, they check it out in the terrestrial wars that are going on the planet. These black operations that have been exposed.
Yeah, they call them laboratories. They call it a laboratory. They call a war a laboratory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. So they want this particular being, magnetized, vaccinated, injected, and completely, digitized, so that they can then control every aspect of what you're doing.
Here's one microcosm. Here's one microcosm example: the GMO milk, the GMO food, the plastics, and there's hundreds of types of plastics they pick for worldwide distribution. Over 90% of the plastic cups. The one type of plastic that sheds the estrogen-mimicking hormones, it's a documented fact. They chose it 40 years ago for that reason. That's come out. And then 3-year-old girls, 4-year-old girls by the tens of thousands, by the millions at 7, 8, 9, are going into puberty early. Then they get breast cancer early. They get sick early. And then they know all that. And when they go to the doctor, they don't say quit drinking GMO milk. They don't say quit drinking out of plastic. They say, we're going to give you hardcore, complex hormonal injections that then suppress that, but then also give you Cushing's disease and fry all your glands. And so, again, they engineer that. The local doctor's compartmentalized. He doesn't know, and they give the little girl something that's far worse. Meanwhile, our boys are in so much estrogen that now they've got 10, 12, 14, 15-year-old boys whose testicles haven't dropped. And I hate to get technical, but they're like ovaries. They're still inside the body. When normally, testicles should drop when you're about 8 and 9, right before you go into puberty at 12. I mean, they are attacking us. The frogs, the fish off the water we drink are now becoming sterile in mass. I mean, this is scientific. We have the sperm count down, 75% in the Western world, 85% in many areas. I mean, the proof's in the pudding.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And it goes to this whole idea of the heart of tyranny, the origin of tyranny, and that the human race is their chattel to do with as they feel like. And they don't want disgruntled people. They want a totally pacified, and dumbed down individual that they can completely own. And you see, they know that they also never sit quiet. They know that there is an awakening taking place. So these guys just don't let that happen. They have to also, arm themselves to react against the awakening that there's.
Well, I had one of them on earlier where they're going to put all these satellite trackers and all the cars to Texas, and from a government study, and he was going, it's okay. It's not coming for a long time. It may not even happen. This is good for you. I mean, and it's always the same script.
It's always the same script, and I tie it into the awakening. I said this in one of my talks entitled The Origins of Evil, and in the first 10 minutes of that talk I said that, look, as the human child starts to awaken and tries to gain back his spirit, that is exactly at the point where the monster, the vampire, comes in. They're waiting there to infuse you with more, toxicity so that you again fall into your...
But see, that's sleep. It. They want you to fall into the sleep, and that's why you're effective, why I'm effective. We're shaking them, going, no, wake up. Don't even believe me. Just you're being manipulated by Madison Avenue, by the culture, by the propaganda, and if you can't even admit that when it's admitted, there's much more advanced things. We're shocking them, saying you need to realize what's going on. There needs to be that urgency for people to get out. Like I knew cell phones were frying my brain, but I kept using them. I finally got to where I check my messages about once a day on it. I keep it far away from me. My wife isn't using hers anymore. We're living without it. It tracks us. It hurts us. I could break my habit. We can all do this, and it takes the urgency, Michael.
Yeah, but when you have a media that turns around and shows you Bill Gates' wife is, injecting her dog with a microchip, and then suddenly it's not the dog anymore, it's the children, just like you showed on Road to Tyranny. You had that stupid, gormless L.A. family who goes, this is just wonderful, I can't wait. It's going to save abduction, it's going to save a kidnapping, or it's going to save your dog. The human race is dumb enough to be turning and go, yeah, I want one too, where can I get it?
By the way, it turns out that was all fake, and the family worked for Applied Digital Solution and IBM Front Directorate, and then magically members of the family started dying.
How about that? Well, this is the casualty list. They never publicized that about all the, like they said, with the estrogen that they're pumping into the girls, and then these court cases that then are backed up because there's been so much, reactions in these children and these young people. I'm very concerned about this whole medicated child bit. I do a lot of work on that and a lot of research.
But see,
on that.
that's what the HPV is, a live cancer virus. It's killing a bunch of people, maiming tens of thousands, and they knew it would do that. They rolled it out as a test of how to cover it up, how to suppress it, how to have these soft kill weapons being openly used out in the public, and testing how to compartmentalize it and cover it up.
And they tried on different populations of the world. Remember, one type of virus is not going to work well on different kinds of nations, different kinds of people. I can tell you, and I'm talking to the choir, I know you know this, that from the AIDS virus down, from the bird flus, and from all of this other stuff, these are rehearsals for the worldwide plague.
They're testing how soft kills move. Go ahead, absolutely right.
Yeah, they're ready to unleash a global plague. The science fiction writers have already written about it and tried to warn people. And this is the perfect way, through food. It's through food. There's an old statement that says that people are 3 meals away from revolution. This was brought out in movies like 3 Days of the Condor. Some people have used it in the context of oil. But oil is a hell of a lot less important than the food, sort of Damocles that these people are going to use, because they're sequestering the organic seeds now, just like in some sort of hideous, Noah's Ark experiment. We've got the facts on this. We've got the proof on this. They're working overtime on it.
Well, James Bond was Ian Fleming, OSS, and then MI6, and they love to throw it in your face. And every one of those movies, later, some manifestation of reality would be shown. And remember Moonraker, where the global elitists want to kill everybody and then repopulate the Earth.
That's right, all the way from the first one, Her Majesty's Secret Service, all the way up to the Moonraker. You're right, they're whistleblowing this through the films. They want to tell, because remember, this is a ritual situation. You need to tell the sacrificial goat what on earth is happening here.
That's the lesser magic. That's the lesser magic. They have to do that first, yeah.
I totally agree with this, and that's what basically our job is. Our job is not to territorialize knowledge, not to jump through hoops, but to try and collate a lot of this information, present it for people, in an unbiased way.
And the enemy are in their own prison. They are habitualized. They are very obsessive compulsive. They do everything the same over and over again. I think that's their weakness, Michael.
Well, right. Remember earlier on you said that there's something wrong with them. There's something sort of inhuman about them. This, I believe, ties into an experimentation that happened in ancient times in which certain beings were created. These are the world rulers today, and they don't even have what we would refer to as spirit or soul. So we've got to understand that we're talking about people here who are, connected to sorcery and to dynastic concerns that have sworn themselves to this kind of control for years. They look at us like some people look at the pets, like the laboratory, doctor looks at the rats in the maze. That is exactly how the human race is to them, and it's something that needs to be controlled, and there's not, in their mind, any question about it. That's the way it has to go, because they look at us as untidy, unruly. They look at us as just like cannon fodder. They always have done. And people need to understand that the movement of imperialism, the movement of tyranny, involves this invasion of our particular biological sovereignty and our mental and spiritual sovereignty, just as much as it does working on a legal, political sphere of action. People tend to focus on that. What's happening now is I hope that people can start to see the spiritual components of this and realize that there is an occult war taking place, and it's on everything that is good.
Well, the bottom line is, folks, you can believe us or not, but war is being waged against you by the technocratic elite. Whether it's real or not, they're all into the occult. They believe into it. They believe what they're saying. What Michael's telling you is true. I mean, I don't know how true it is in facts, but they believe it. They believe they're another species, and they believe your baby is a piece of crap that needs to be killed. And they're coming for us. They're already attacking us. They brainwash the cops, the military. They brainwashed. A lot of them are waking up. We didn't make it this way. Everything we've told you has come true so far. We're telling you it's going to get a lot more crazy, and you better realize this is life and death. Let's take some calls. Mick in Pennsylvania, you're on the air with Michael Tsarion.
Thank you very much. In an effort for speed, I'm going to kind of babble quick. It seems like the controlled media is the most useful tool in their toolbox, and if we could, do you think there's any way we could possibly, we have to come up some way to break up that monopoly, perhaps through the use of their own fairness doctrine, because we don't have much.
Yeah, but they're going to selectively enforce that and use that to shut me down. That's all. That was always selectively used. We need to intensify the web, not let them take it over, not take it for granted while we still have it right now. Just each of you individually, waking up friends and neighbors and family is an unstoppable force. There are leaders out there listening right now that will dwarf what Michael Tsarion, Alex Jones, and many others have done. Okay, you just have to start the fight, start the battle, and that will lead you into just amazing opportunities.
Oh, thank you. And just real quick, in all his research, this Israeli identity message of the European races actually being the supposedly lost tribes of Israel.
Yes, well, I mean, that goes back to what I said earlier.
Tool also.
Yeah, let me get Michael to comment on it, but let me just comment. We told you the Queen of England is coronated on, the Stone of Jacob, where supposedly Abraham was going to sacrifice him. And so, yes, they believe that this goes back to the Merovingian line. You want to explain this?